Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through the evens with you, and we're going to just be solving proportions. That's the cross multiplying and dividing. And then I'll leave you to the odds for your homework. So the big thing is setting up the proportion, and you can do it a couple of different ways, and there's not really actually one exact right way or wrong way. But if I'm going to be setting up a proportion, I could do the vertical side over the vertical side equals the horizontal over the horizontal, large to small, or I could do vertical to horizontal in the large, vertical to horizontal in the small. I'm going to go with that way, so I'm going to go A to B equals D to C. The thing is that the A and the D are both the vertical sides and the B and the C are both the horizontal sides. If I set it up the other way, it would be both of them in the large, both of them in the small. You just have to keep that consistent. But once I get that, then I can just plug the stuff in. So if I'm doing A is A to B, 4 to 5, equals D to C, 3.5. That's the unknown. So I'm going to do cross multiply and divide, and then I can go ahead and get my answer. So 4 times 3.5 divided by 5. 4 times 3.5. I'm using the fraction key on my calculator. If you don't know where that is, let me know, or I can give you one. And so I get 2 and 4/5 inches would be my answer for that one. If I'm going to set up B, let's see if I can change color here. So if I'm going to do the B one, B, okay, B, now it's the B portion that's missing, so it's the A to the unknown B equals D, which is 2 to C. Again, I cross multiply and divide. So 5 times 5 divided by 2, you should end up with 12.5 inches. It doesn't matter if you come up with a decimal or a fraction. I don't really care. I'll be able to figure it out, whatever you use. Sometimes, especially when you're doing measurements, like in problem number 3, you're probably going to want to keep it into the fraction form, okay? I do want to, I know you're going to do the odds, and I'll let you set that one up. This one's going to work a lot off of, or with what we go next, A, but I do want to talk about the scale factor. And the scale factor is just kind of the ratio of the two measurements that you're doing. And you can do it 2 different ways. I can have a scale factor that goes from the drawing to the accurate, or I can have the accurate for actual to the drawing. And so drawing to the actual, I would put 2 measurements that are in like the same, that they're measuring the same, but they're in their different, in like the width of the drawing and the width of the actual is what I'd use. So I would do 3.5 to 14. If I'm doing it the other way, I do the actual to the drawing. And then your job is to reduce that. So you can just do top divided by bottom, and that would be a 1/4 scale. Or in this one, it'd be 14 divided by 3.5, and that would be a 4:1 scale. Don't worry, you don't have to worry too much about this one. And I don't even know that there are any more questions that ask about that in the rest of it. That's why I just wanted to do that one. So when you're doing your homework, just do 3A to set up the length. Okay, so again, let's run through these, and if at any point you're like, okay, I get it, go ahead and stop. But I will take the time to kind of run through them all of the evens for you. Oops, that's in the way, and I can't move it out of the way, so I'm going to have to try and guess. Horsepower developed varies directly. Displacement, how many horsepower will be developed by an engine with a displacement of 240 cubic inches if a 380 cubic inch engine, 220. So we would do 240 to 380 equals The 240 is the one that I don't know how many horsepower will be developed by an engine. So that's the one I'm answering for, if the 380 is the 221. So this would be cross multiply and divide 240 times 220 divided by 380. And looks like 138. 240 times 220. I have all the right numbers. 240 times 220 divided by 380. So 138.947. Got a kind of funny decimal there. I better check that. I'm going to pause for a second and check. Okay, so that, yeah, that all worked out right. So the 240 is the cubic inches, over 380 cubic inches. So this is my horsepower. So I'll do HP. Okay. So again, just setting up a proportion. So our next one is if the alternator to engine drive ratio is 2.45 to 1, what RPM will the alternator have when the engine is idling at 400 RPM? And direct proportion just means you're going to set that up. So this is alternator to engine ratio is 2.45 to 1. When I set this up, what RPM will be the alternator? So this is what I don't know, the alternator. The engine is the one that comes second. The engine is the one on the bottom. So the engine is idling at 400. So that's how I'm going to have to decide where those go. Just kind of look at what's given and use that. A to E translates to A over E. So alternator to engine equals, I'm looking for what RPM will the alternator to engine. And then again, just cross multiply and solve. So 2.45 times 400 and then divide by 1. So that would be 980. And then I'll look for what RPM. So RPM is what I'm looking for. Alternator to engine. RPM on an alternator. Yeah, when the engine is idling at 400. Okay. So 8, same kind of thing. It's known that a cable with a cross-section area of 0.6 square inches has a capacity to hold 2,500 pounds. If the capacity of the cable is proportional to its cross-sectional area, what size cable is needed to hold 4,000 pounds? So cable with a cross-sectional area of 0.6 holds 2,500. How much do I need to hold 4,000? And again, I cross multiply 0.6 times 4,000 divided by the 2,500. It equals, I get 0.96, and then I look at what the label is, and that's square inches. Just don't forget again to put your labels on. We have one left, and then like I said, I'll let you go on your own. So we have 45-gallon hot water heater holds 375 pounds of water. What weight of water will a 55-gallon tank hold? So we go 45, this is my gallons, to the pounds. 375 equals 55 is my tank, and I'm looking for the pounds. Again, 375 times 55 divide by 45, and I've got 458.3. Repeating, it actually comes out to be, but they said round to the nearest pound, so we'll go 458 pounds would be my final answer on that. That's kind of why you went over how to work with the decimals and the fractions and the rounding and things like that. So hopefully that helps. When you get into the proportions and percents that we're going to be getting into soon, I'll probably do the same thing, just kind of send a video to help you out. Hope that made a difference. Again, just work through the odds, send that to me, and then we'll start on Monday with the new stuff. If you need anything, let me know.